So while we didn't get this big all-out triple battle with the 3 enchanted blades of Tobimune, Enten, and Kumayori, I do have to say what we got is really just as good in comparison. Because it's always good to see that Hokuzono isn't afraid to throw us for a loop and change the story of Kagurabachi from what the audience expects to happen. We all genuinely thought this was going to be a climactic moment when Hirohiko, Chihiro, and Somura all released their blades at once, and it just turned out to be one of the most craziest misdirections, because when I tell you my jaw was on the floor watching not just how swiftly Somura took out his prey, but just how neatly Hirohiko and Todo played the situation. Because Hirohiko, I really have to say, has impressed me every chapter that he's in. Not only was he just able to learn the pure EI style in like 1 to 2 watches of Chihiro, he also, despite having next to really no training at all with Kumayori, was able to, what I imagine, just learn about its abilities and then release its banquet ability on contact fast enough to not die from Somura, because again, Somura did not waste any time. Hirohiko thought seeing Iori would throw Somura off of his game and make him hesitate for a minute, and ultimately this does end up being true, but we see even Somura hesitating only leaves about 1 millisecond of time for reaction, because if Hirohiko did not release Banquet when he did, that would have been endgame. And also if he released any other ability besides Banquet, because we still don't know what the other 2 abilities are, but Banquet being a hallucinogen, fully causing illusions like a genjutsu almost on everyone that's in the vicinity except apparently the Hishaku henchmen. So it seems like Kumayori can even select the targets that get hit, and it goes out by sound because Chihiro actually blocks the sound and dulls it through putting Nishiki in his ear, which is also another amazing level up for Chihiro to just on the fly come up with the perfect defense. We get a nice reveal of Tobimune when he cuts right through Hirohiko and Todo, because Tobimune is not just releasing all of these different crows and feathers, which help Somura sense his surroundings because he's obviously blind. So without having the ninja squad with him now, having all of the different feathers of Tobimune allows Somura to fight solo much better and project his senses onto everything else. But on top of that, it's basically why he's able to teleport himself at such a fast rate. Now that Somura has all of these feathers covering the battlefield, he can basically switch places with every single one of these feathers at any given time. Somura's Tobimune is one of, if not the strongest enchanted blade, because in combination with the owl that is able to cover all of the country with its vision, and he can just teleport anywhere he needs to, drop a bunch of feathers anywhere from that owl, what a perfect combination. Somura is essentially a one-man army through this. And the only thing that quite literally stops him from taking control of this entire situation is because Iori is here and present. I thought it was interesting that instead of even acknowledging his daughter, Somura goes right to blaming the Masumi for potentially breaking the seal on Iori. And when they admit that they had nothing to do with it and Iori quite literally broke it on her own, which in my opinion should elicit some kind of, wow, her memory of me was that strong, her love for me was that strong that she wanted to break the seal mentally of her own accord. It was able to break this spell that we cast on her without breaking a beat. He says, redo the seal. And while this seems heartless, and Iori even says, you don't have anything to say to me, now that we have all of Somura's backstory, while I don't agree, I can understand his philosophy behind this. Not having his daughter has not only kept her safe and made sure that she has nothing to do with this conflict and getting into trouble, besides the fact that the Hishaku were close to finding her despite the seal, Somura was able to commit these acts of atrocity free of guilt because his daughter did not know what he was doing. His daughter didn't even know he was alive. Now that his daughter not only remembers him, knows that he's alive, she's aware of these evil acts that he's committing, killing his friends and then killing the Hishaku, potentially dooming the country and working as a rogue warrior because he believes that only he can stop this tragedy. It's quite clear to me that Somura needs his daughter to be away from him. Somura needs his daughter to not know. We saw how much his PTSD and his trauma weighed on him in the flashback, where he couldn't even be with his wife and daughter because of the PTSD he held from the Seitei genocide. Now, the fact that he's doing all of this to try and hopefully, by the way, is a big hopefully, because we still don't even know if he's going to be able to accomplish this, because what we find out at the end of the chapter is, despite Somura thinking he's one step ahead of the Hashaku, Yura and his friend are still playing Somura like a fiddle. And it seems like this tracks with what the Hashaku are capable to do. They are all very intelligent, all very cunning warriors that are going up against very righteous, justice-filled, almost samurai, you could say, right? They're very honorable. Somura has defied his honor, but at the end of the day, he still has a moral code. Whereas people like Hirohiko specifically is more than willing to use his Kumayori, which is so fitting for a Hashaku member, by the way, to enact insane illusions that put everyone at risk and then could potentially end up with Iori dead, even though their ultimate plan is to save Iori, right? Not save, but kidnap her and get her under the Hashaku rule. When they're about to escape, Todo wants to leave, and Hirohiko refuses to leave. He says if they leave right now, they'll never be able to capture Somura's daughter, and they have to accomplish their mission. And Todo's not stupid. She's not dumb. She knows that he just wants to fight Chihiro, and he doesn't want to give up. This is a chance for him to go back, fight Chihiro, and get a W. Get the W that was stolen from him in the last fight when Chihiro was teleported away by the storage technique. Hirohiko is putting his life at risk because it's what he wants to do, because it's what he believes he needs to do. This is all a game to him, as Todo confirms. Nothing matters besides going back, fighting Chihiro, saving the daughter, and being able to say that he didn't give up and he tried his best. And it's another reason as to why Hirohiko is the perfect foil for Chihiro. The exact same kind of drive and motivation, just in a completely different direction from the main character. Hirohiko is the perfect person, and watching someone that has the same kind of drive and motivation and just inspiration makes it interesting to watch, and especially seeing how the other two Kumayori abilities and the true realm of the Enchanted Blade will begin to adapt to Hirohiko's aspect of freedom, a student of freedom. What will Kumayori gift to Hirohiko, like we've watched Enten gift things to Chihiro? As the chapter comes to an end and Chihiro goes after Hirohiko and the sorcerer Todo of the Hashaku, knowing that Iori will be safe because Somura is here, Chihiro knows that regardless of what Somura's feelings are on the matter, regardless that Somura wants to kill all Enchanted Blade wielders, he can't just leave his daughter to die. He never will be able to do this. So what does he do? Chihiro makes an educated guess and says, I'm going after them. Somura will protect Iori. And the ninjas are of course going to stay with him, even though they are kind of messed up by Banquet's abilities. And Chihiro makes the right decision because Somura immediately cuts down every Hashaku henchman that's going after Iori in that moment. And as Chihiro and Hirohiko meet down below in the hotel and continue fighting each other, Hirohiko knows that this is another battle to the death. Chihiro also is aware that he needs to kill Hirohiko now, or Hirohiko will continue to grow stronger and become too much of a threat for him to handle. Chihiro makes a very offhanded lie, in my opinion, where he says, I just needed to know where Kumayori was. Now I can kill you without hesitation. Which, sure, Chihiro, I believe that. You want to save all the Enchanted Blades, but let's be real here. Hirohiko's come up was way too much for you to handle. The fact that you were able to best him in that sword draw was great, but let's not get cocky here. I personally put these two fucking badasses neck and neck right now. They are so even when it comes to power. So genuinely, I am interested to see where this goes. Is Hirohiko going to die here? I highly doubt it. I very much doubt this will be the last round 2 Chihiro and Hirohiko have. Well, it will be the last round 2, but there'll be a round 3, might even be a round 4. Chihiro works best when he has a character to bounce off of. His aura farming is multiplied by someone that can match his energy every chance that he gets. And speaking of matching energy, we now have a B-plot to this arc that may end up being another big moment that changes the landscape of the story as a whole. because while all of this is going on at the Bloodshed Hotel back in Tokyo, we have Yura and Yura's friend, the Tree Sorcerer, who, just like always, are still one step ahead of everybody else, still playing 4D, 5D chess. Yura says, hey, Somura is our greatest weapon right now. He is our greatest asset. We have to use him correctly. And come to find out that this might have been the perfect plan that they ever had. Iori breaking her memory seal might have been one of the best coincidences that Yura could have asked for. Because now that Somura is, we know for a fact, hesitating, he is stuck in a place where he has no choice but to defend his daughter and keep her safe. Chihiro inadvertently also gives Yura the layup, because now that his daughter is in his grasp, they can, as they say, fire 2 arrows. What does Yura mean by this? Well, the first arrow, I have to imagine, is the very fact that Yura and his partner are right on top of the Shinichi's lair, right on top of Kamunabi headquarters. Before, when Somura was patrolling everywhere, there was no way they'd ever be able to make an infiltration like this. Now, as the owl dissipates, as Somura is forced to stay at the Bloodshed Hotel, they are free to make their move and attack. It's the exact moment that they've been waiting for this whole time. Which, again, what is going to happen in this infiltration? Is there anyone that the Kamunabi has that are going to be able to take on Yura and his partner? I need to know how we're going to be able to solve this problem, because it just seems like this is going to be another side of the Swordbearer assassination arc, if we really are still in the same story, that the Hashaku have one-upped us and won again. But until next week, until the next chapter, we'll just have to wait and see what that second arrow is. Is there a way that they can kill Somura and Iori in one shot now that they no longer need him? Has Somura provided them with the perfect opportunity to steal the Shinichi, and then he has used up all of his necessity for them? Where is Shiba? What is going to happen next? I don't know, but I do know that I'll be here every single week reading this series and talking about it. So thank you all so much for watching. If you made it this far, hit that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future Kagurabachi videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.